Blog Talk Radio.
You're listening to Talent Culture's T-Chat Radio. The World of Work is live now on the radio with Megan M. Biro and Kevin W. Grossman, because middle initials count.
Come down, turn the radio on. Take my hand, turn the radio on. Come on, my favorite song, baby. Let's dance, turn the radio on.
Welcome everybody out there in Talent Culture T-Chat Show land. It is another show here at Talent Culture, and we're very excited. It's Wednesday, July 22nd. It is, the heart of summer. It just feels like this year has been flying by so far. With you, as always, is Kevin W. Grossman, and of course, the lovely and talented Megan M. Biro. Hi, Megan.
Hey, Kevin. What's
How are
happening? I'm good. I'm here at the home office in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Awesome.
And
I'm at the home office myself on the West Coast.
85 degrees and sunny here. So we are definitely in the heart of summer, and we just got over a little humidity bout. Everyone was kind of sweaty and messy, but we're over that. Now we got a little breeze, and I'm excited to kind of have that. You know, I have that thing where I'm at the home office and I'm kind of looking out the window right now going, stacked with meetings for the rest of the day, but I got to get out there and get active, you know? What it's all about.
Yeah.
Summer just flies by.
It does, indeed. And I'm on the West Coast, and it's much cooler than you, although we had, and just a quick mention, and then we can get on with the show, but we actually had like Midwest weather in the past week. Like it was like for us, that's for us cities on the West Coast.
What do you mean by that, by the way? That's
what I mean, it
vague.
was hot and muggy. Like really muggy.
Yeah,
like seriously.
That's what we've had. Yeah, that's what
but we don't usually get that, and that was all the way up and down the coast, and it was bizarre. Anyway, I just letting you know.
What? You know who else had that is our community extraordinaire, Rachel Miller and she's in LA, and she said they had it there too. So shout out to
all
Rachel
up and down
Miller,
the coast.
by the way. She's hanging in there. She's so awesome. I hope everyone here knows Rachel Miller by now. She helps us on so many levels, keeping the community love flowing during the week. So appreciate you, and also while we're at it, a shout out to Kristen Cardos and the rest of the T-Chat community. We're excited to be here today. We got a pretty juicy topic.
So why don't we should we thank our friends and sponsors first?
Absolutely.
Before we dive in?
Kidding? Yeah. Hello, of course. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors who we absolutely adore. Thank you for supporting us all these years and months. Dice, Jibe, TalentWise, Hootsuite, IBM, Career Builder, People Fluent, Smart Search, and really excited. We'll be making some more announcements. We got some new brands coming on board the party train. So thank you. We have a lot of excitement bubbling here with the community, but certainly, last but not least, a shout out to our friends over from my coast, the other left coast, HR Marketer Insight, who helps us out with our social analytics. And also a special shout out today to all of the people over there at the Candidate Experience Awards. Everyone's rocking it. That continues to grow as well. So
Indeed.
Welcome, everybody. You know, please note, everyone knows by now, but if you're new, we're here every week, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern, 10 to 11 a.m. Pacific, or wherever you are around this wonderful globe. So last week we talked about how to build and market your employer brand. This week we're talking about how HR drives positive workforce impact with the right data insights. I'm kind of getting a kick out of this because somehow somebody here, and it wasn't me, said how HR drives positive workforce impact. I bet you that was Kevin. So I would have said, if it was me, how HR drives workforce impact, and then leave it to us to decide, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to decide, is it positive?
Oh, you rebel too. Oh, you rebel. You're such a rebel. Come on. Man.
Carpe
Wow.
diem, HR. Time to seize the business today, right? We've got a lot of momentum right now and presence in driving tech decisions than we've ever had, right? So how do we seize the day in innovation and make it impactful? And again, that could be positive or it could be negative. Let's be honest here, all right? How does that drive, though, better decisions? And that's something that I think a lot of you out there, whether you're an HR practitioner or you're in social business, we're all kind of slammed with all this data. And across the human capital management ecosystem, having the right data is absolutely essential. So asking the business to make decisions based on data insights can be really super scary if you don't understand the relevance and credibility of the data itself. So join us and learn today what data empowers HR and business executives to drive tech innovation towards a positive, hopefully, workforce impact. So if you're listening out there or on the Twitters, and I hope you are, and you want to participate and learn with us today, come on over, be part of T-Chat here right now, every week. And we're gonna have this podcast, and then we're gonna follow it up with our Twitter chat. So let's introduce our guest.
So let's introduce our guest. So we've got a great guest. Mark Rind, who is the VP of Product Development and the Chief Data Scientist at ADP. He is literally a rocket scientist in HR technology, which we're going to talk about. He's an experienced software and system architect focused on thought leadership, of course, for bringing emerging technologies to enterprise readiness. He's also a Foo Fighters fan and a Rush fan.
Yes, that's right.
Which I'm very excited about. Yes, because I'm going to see Rush tomorrow night, and last week he saw Foo Fighters, so that was all good stuff. So welcome, Mark, to our show.
Thank you for having me, Kevin. Hi, hey Kevin. Hey Megan. How are you guys?
Hey.
Excellent.
Sorry, I called you Mark. Now I'm getting it confused. Did I call you?
You got Rind. Rind, you had it right. You had it right.
No, Rind. We're good. We got it on the money.
Yeah,
we got the money shot. So,
hey, by the way,
listen.
I'm a huge, before you guys dive into it, I'm probably a bigger Foo Fighters fan than I am Rush, but fans of both of their music. So we want to hear all about Kevin's adventures and hear all about it.
Well, and the Foo Fighters are big Rush fans, and vice versa. There's a mutual admiration going on there. So
yeah, well, there you go.
To
let you know, when I saw them, the drummer was wearing a Rush T-shirt. So
wow. Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Taylor Hawkins is a big fan. They're all Dave Grohl. They're all a big fan. So Mark, listen, we gave you just a kind of a brief introduction, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about you, your background, and what's led you to what you're doing for ADP and what we're going to be talking about today?
Absolutely, Kevin. Thank you for having me, first of all. My background, what I do today is I lead the development of our analytics solution that we provide out to our clients, really kind of bringing all the data together for our clients to understand their own business operations more than they ever could before. I've been ADP for 13 years. Before that, worked at a few startups. So I definitely have that entrepreneur kind of innovative kind of blood running through my veins in figuring out not just what to do with the data and looking at the insights, but really most importantly, having it make sense to ultimately our end users, and how do they want to receive it, and how can they interact with it, and how can they adopt it. Because if you're coming at someone with a fire hose of data, if they're not sure how to accept it, or it's hard for them to use, or they don't even know where to get started, that valuable data means nothing, right? So that's really what we've been working on here at ADP with our Data Cloud solution, is bringing in all of the data for our clients and really being able to show them the insights so that they can take some action and understand how to run their own organization better.
I got to tell you, Mark, I was actually at the ADP Roseland office last week.
Oh, were you? Okay.
Yeah, I was actually. I know. It's so funny. And you and I don't know if you were there last week, but I popped in for a couple hours of a meeting. And, ADP is a brand that's been on my radar for obviously many years as, in various forms and shapes and flavors. I spent some time with the senior executive team at HR Tech last October in Vegas. and what you guys are doing over there is absolutely mind-blowing. And I think a lot of the world has yet to really see the goodies. And I know you all have this innovation lab going on in New York, right?
Yeah, the innovation lab has been really fantastic. I mean, in a nutshell, the realization that, look, ADP has been processing payroll for 60 years. I mean, we right now we pay 1 in 6 U.S. Persons. The other part of it is now understanding that having all this valuable information and providing such a service, we've really been focusing on getting to the cutting edge of innovation along with user experience, how people ultimately want to integrate with software solutions to help them build a better organization or understand their organization even better. So the folks in Innovation Lab in Chelsea, New York, we just put this location right in the middle of the city, right in Silicon Alley, to get the top talent together, to start rethinking things that we've all become accustomed to, really innovating on the way that we want our users to, how they want to be using our various solutions. So that's what they've been focused on in Chelsea, in New York there. And then along with that, what we've been doing is also now understanding more and more, leveraging our middle name, which is our data. Having all that data, being one of the original cloud software as a service providers, we're able to help our clients understand not just their own data, but how they do and compared to others, because we have all this data in completely anonymized and aggregated form to look for patterns across the spectrum, across the industries, so that we can start providing insights to say, hey, here's your overtime rate on your top performers, but here's how that looks across the industry to let you know if you're high or low in that space necessarily, and then kind of get them to the actions that they could be taking without having our users have to go fish for that. So that's what we've been playing around with.
Yeah, and you know what? That playing around. I love it. It's like, yeah, you have.
Oh, yeah. I say playing around because my job is really,
I know.
it really shouldn't be considered a job. It's,
right.
I have, we have all this data and we're going to explore it, and I'm probably the luckiest technologist there is, particularly someone who loves data, because of the valuable data that we do have, and finding the insights it's fantastic. So by playing around, I mean, it's fun, but our solution's out there, our clients are using it, and that's a big part of this for us is getting with our clients directly and understanding, are we on, are we off? We use some agile development methods to understand so that we can get stuff out in front of them and have them really be a partner in the development process has been key.
And middle initials count, right, Mark? So like we say in our intro, the D in ADP data, absolutely, that totally counts. You know, I want to let's talk a little bit about something that we also hit on in the video preview that I wanted to talk about here, because you outlined really nicely of what you're doing and the fact that you're playing in all this data. How are you working with organizations though to get to that single source of data truth, right? Because there's a lot of us in the space on the technology side, and also the companies that are using us, they're leveraging, they've got data from tons of, multiple disparate systems, right? So how are you working with organizations to bring all that in, whether ADP or not, and help them unify the data so that it's the single source of truth, so they can start getting those insights?
Yeah, that's a great question. And going back around, I'm going to say about 18 months ago, when we first launched the product, the response was very positive in our approach to take the HR, the HCM data, and present it in such a usable fashion. We heard from many of our clients saying, this is great. I would love it if I can also put in my insert data here, whether it be financial data, maybe it's sales or revenue from my various stores, maybe it's manufacturing output, maybe it's patient served or patient satisfaction scores, whatever it is. They right out front, there was the obvious need to build a mechanism for folks to be able to import data that was lightweight. We didn't want to have a huge implementation. So what we're working on through our ADP marketplace is something we're calling data exchange, where it's a very simple API. It takes a RESTful call to take in other data assets to bring in and combine in with the people data that we have. So the way we're doing it is we're looking to tie it down at a person or a location level. And by doing so, they can just hit the API and send us all of this data. And right now, we're working with a few of our clients to figure out, to tying together from a retail perspective, let's just say, all of your workforce planning metrics as it relates to ultimately the bottom line of how the stores are performing pertaining to what they're expecting to sell. So that's kind of the mechanism that we've been going down is to have a lot of these APIs open up the solution to have our clients send us more and more data.
That's
so
awesome.
I want to kind of take this down a notch, Mark, for a moment, if you would.
Sure.
Why exactly is big data to HR and social business so intimidating to so many people and companies right now? Like, why are we still struggling with this concept of big data, in your opinion? In our way, maybe in your world, you feel like, what are you talking about? But from my perspective, I just feel like there's still a real struggle here to understand it, and in context of innovation and what's happening on the bigger picture with cloud, right?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I think it's funny. It's one of the first topics that we speak about when we go speak to our clients. It is intimidating. It is, because what ultimately the technology has been able to allow us to start doing is taking, disparate, disconnected data sets. And my favorite definition of big data is data that was collected but being used not for how it was originally intended, right? So of pulling in HR data, but also financials or weblog data, and now the Internet of Things, there's more data there. And it's just the amount of data that's coming together, and the technology is there to actually be able to not only pull it together, but now start making some predictions based on all of this data that you've now collected. And I think what's happened is the technology is starting to kind of run its road, but then, and this is what I think a big reason why many big data projects at large organizations fail, is that you get to the point of pulling all of this data together, but at the end of the day, if you cannot make sense of it, or if it doesn't help the end user understand what actions they could be taking, then ultimately you have this, this awesome car in the garage, but no one knows how to drive. And I think that ultimately the important part is taking something which sounds intimidating, but really consumerizing it and really making it really actionable and kind of take the fishing out of it. We're trying to really do all the analysis on the behalf of our users to just point them in the right direction, right? Just to give them the clues that they should go look into. And the other part is, and I think this is ultimately the most important part is, okay, so the robots told me that I have a problem in an area, or the robots or the data is telling me, all right, this is something I need to take action on, and here's the action. It's really important for, I think, HR professionals or anyone leveraging big data is that you have to understand the data behind it, right? You can't just take it as a black box. You have to understand how was it pulled together? How did these guys validate that someone might be potentially a higher risk of leaving the organization? Why is that? And we've spent a lot of time on speaking with our clients to make sure it made sense, but also understanding that you can't just come up with models to predict things or models to pull data together. You have to be able to validate it, and you have to open it up. And in order to do that, you need a lot of data to pull together and spend a lot of time with it. So I think maybe, Megan, I hope that answers your question, and hopefully we're getting closer to it. But I definitely see the thirst for it, and it's just delivering it in the right method is the most important thing that we have to do and make sure we get right.
No question about it. I appreciate your angle on this.
Indeed. Hey, Mark, can you share, speaking of all that, can you share like a specific story, an anecdote? I mean, with maybe one of the more progressive customers that you're working with that are actually moving the needle. So, I mean, it's one thing that, to get all the data unified and to be able to start, analyzing it and looking for trends and patterns, and not just historical, but looking forward. But I mean, do you have a story like somebody who moved the needle in talent acquisition, or they moved the needle in performance, or do you have anything that you can share?
Sure. I mean, one is, from an analytics standpoint, one of my favorite customers is Mercy Health. They have been really looking to, and their use case is rather fascinating. So they have the folks pulling in and understanding hiring patterns and understanding, they're looking at the data, understanding the hiring patterns and the overtime and the scheduling and everything around the solutions. But what they've done is that the part about it that they like the most is that they're able to set policy, or they're able to set, hey folks, this is what you should be looking at, and be able to just push it to the whole organization so that, the everyday managers can also get the information and understand what the targets might be in terms of what is your new hire attrition rate. Like, okay, is it, I lose, let's just say 20% of my new hires under a year. What does that mean in my area? Is that high or low? So having that given out to the managers so that they can not only see their own numbers in their own location, but also understand what the policy or what the overall targets should be, and then relate that to, well, what does it look like in your area, in your industry? Just being able to see that right out in front just gives them an idea of which locations or which departments really need to focus in a little bit better, or you spend your time. It's really about giving them clues on where to go focus. That's one. Another is, one of my favorites is with a retailer, understanding not just how the sales are going in an in the various locations or store locations. Mm-hmm. That's easy, right? That's a financial report. But right. Understanding, all right, well, what does my overtime look like, or what are the skills I'm hiring in those locations that seem to be beating plan, right? That's now you're starting to get interesting, right? Or things like, well, my outdoor locations, we generally see on really sunny days, my outdoor locations do pretty well, do a little bit better. We might see, so now you're starting to connect in weather to have it predict what your sales, you might see an extra 10% jump of foot traffic because it's a nicer day out for your outdoor stores versus your in the mall.
Right.
So it's starting to pull it all together to kind of finding little nuggets of insights. And is it absolute? Not necessarily all the time, but it's just giving you clues of higher likelihood that you can take as a hint of where you need to go focus in on.
Hey, Mark, I'm going to change angles here for a moment. I've got I want to give a shout out to Connie, and I'm not going to botch your last name. ConnieUrWay on the Twitters. Here's a question. Is it safe to suggest future HR will be required to have big data skills? I mean, what's your take on this, Mark? Is this a must? Is this a nice to have in terms of skill set? And again, this could be HR or it could be just business leadership, right, in general. You could take either view on that. But what's your take on that?
I think more and more overall, I think we are going to become more of a data-driven, being that all this data is now pulled together, we're going to have to be data literate, meaning not necessarily the folks are going to have to know how to build a cluster and kind of do all the deeper technologies of putting everything together. I think what's more important is for folks to be able to look at a data visualization and understand what it's telling them, but then even further understanding to say, this would be great if I could also see it by X. Like, so for instance, here's my top performing metric and the attrition of the top performers, right? It's the next question that we should start having all of our HR professionals be ready to ask of, well, I'd like to see this by, break this down by the manager's, let's just say the manager's training levels, right? Or wouldn't it be great to understand, bring in the engagement scores into this? So just starting to think of situations of bringing in external data sources to kind of bring in, and then once you see it, you go, aha, it looks like that there is something here in terms of, say, we should invest in more training of our managers to keep the attrition rates down, things like that. I don't think in terms of literacy around big data, I think it's understanding some of the basic concepts, but then dreaming up situations where if only we had this data and we could understand more about all of these factors or departments or locations or people. Well, now that's starting to become possible, right? And I think over the next couple of years, it's going to be dream up data that you wish you had on something so that you can build an insight, and it's going to start making its way.
Right. So,
Cool
so Mark,
stuff.
we're down to like less than 3 minutes now. And it's like this, you just blink and the time goes by. It's amazing. And we're going to get ready, not quite in a minute. We're going to jump over to the Twitters and do the Twitter chat portion. And we've got 3 questions for the community, and love to have you there engaged as well, Mark.
Oh, sure.
One more thing that one more footnote I wanted to add to the 2 examples that you shared of companies that are, again, making a difference with data and analytics in their organizations. Can you just quickly highlight how long was that process? I mean, from, gosh, we got a bunch of stuff in a bucket that's called these data points to actually making a difference and implementing them in the organization. Well, how long did that take about?
Well, for us or for what a typical client?
Well, for them, specifically for them. I mean, you helped, you empowered, you enabled them to do that, but from their perspective, from you working with them, but how long was that? Was that 6 months, 18 months, 24 months?
I'll tell you, it is, I would say for someone getting into it, for us, we've been at this in our solution, everything from the collection of data, bringing it in, there's always a data cleansing element that you want to make sure that your data is making sense, and kind of sourcing it together all the way out to, well, great, I have all this data, well, now what, right? And we've spent a lot of time in understanding what are the key metrics that, we felt we've spoken to a lot of folks that understand, what are the key factors what are the questions that they have, right, around their organization so that we're building it for them. For us, it was, probably to get first thing out the door was about 18 months or so, 24 months to get a product out there.
Got it.
Now, and just to have that out there, and but we're doing it for all of our clients, right? We're building it for mass.
Right.
So I would say, I think that's about right. 18, 24 months sounds about right.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, that does sound about right. Awesome. Thank you, Mark, very much.
My pleasure.
Hey,
Yeah.
thanks, Mark. This has been a really awesome conversation, and really appreciate all you're doing over at ADP, and to the team that I met out there in Roseland and the Innovation Lab, which I'm excited to go visit. You guys are really, really doing some amazing work, and I know there's going to be much more stories and case studies unfolding in the coming weeks and months, and we're happy to understand more and more about what you're doing there as a brand. And thank you so much for joining us. And I think what we're going to do is just continue this conversation over on the Twitters. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, great. Thanks
Mark.
for having me. And just bottom line is, folks, is I think just going back to the big data conversation, it's about how is this all data ultimately at the end of the day affecting your businesses, right? So I think that's the other major point is that I'm really excited about it because now we're seeing the connections between HCM, human capital management, all of the data that we have to ultimately the effect to run a more successful company. And that to me is very exciting, and I'm hoping to all your listeners out there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Let's keep
Great.
the conversation going. Thanks, Mark. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
See you, everybody.
All right, cool.